Jack, attention. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everybody.
Do we not have a bell? All right, thank you, everybody. Yeah. All right, everybody, welcome to City of Meadows Place. This is a regular council meeting. It is located at the council chambers, City of Meadows Place, and it is Tuesday, January 23rd, and it is at 6:33. We're starting instead of 6:30. Everybody was so excited and so happy to be here. It took us a little while to get started. Item A, we're going to move on to that, call to order and announce the quorum is present. We have full council here and a heck of an audience here. We're going to have item 1 is the Pledge of Allegiance, and item 2 is the invocation, which will be led by Jimmy Fenwick. And the Pledge of Allegiance is going to be now led by Kevin Barnett. Okay, let's get started. And Kevin, if you'd start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. God, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you for the way that you are moving in the City of Meadows Place. We thank you for all that you're doing here, what we see and what we don't see. God, we thank you for our officials. We thank you for all those who pour in and who volunteer and serve in this city. We also thank you, God, for our first responders and Brian especially. We thank you for Chief Stewart and for all that he does for this community, both on duty and off duty. Into this community, and we're so grateful. God, I just ask that you are with us tonight, that you are a part of this meeting, and that you go before us and pave the way, and that as we leave from this place later, that you protect us and watch over all of us. We thank you and love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Jimmy. You're back. Please be seated. City of Meadows Place does a lot of things right, including keeping staff. What it doesn't do very well is recognize and celebrate staff. And everybody's looking at me like, well, you were supposed to do this, and I have just failed in that. But I'm going to step down right now and talk to the Chief of Police of the City of Meadows Place. Now 12 years. He has been here 30 years. So with that, Chief, step up here. I know you have seen a lot of changes in City of Meadows Place. You took over being a patrol officer in the city right after Marshall Whichard stopped patrolling for the Sheriff's Department. Not all the houses were even built, and it sure looked different. It's been run effectively and not so effectively, and you've been through all of it and helped us get through it. And I want to say thank you for that. And I want to acknowledge that we had some difficulty, and now we're running pretty smooth. For those that are not here, may not appreciate it, there's one city in all of Fort Bend County that has all their patrol officer positions filled. And Chief, you know what city that is? Yes, sir. That's City of Meadows Place, Texas. That one square mile of wonderful. And when I look up and I see an officer trolling down Meadow Glen or down Montecito or out in front of my house are parked in that and looking after the school. I love that part. And that's something you instituted a long, long time ago, and I appreciate that. And I could go on and on, but I don't have the skills, the wherewithal, or the notes. But I do have this in my heart. I have a heart for wishing you a very happy career here and continued here. But I want to say thank you more than anything on behalf of my wife and my neighbors and myself and all the residents here in Meadows Place. You've done a great job of guiding this group together. You have a heck of a good, there's a couple ugly ones, but other than that, you've done a really good job. But Chief, on behalf of the City of Meadows Place, I want to say thank you very much for your service. I want to present you with this pin for 30 years of service. And that is something that not anybody else has, with the exception of maybe Lane Hurth. I'm not
the
sure.
longest serving person.
But, okay, you've got that one too. So, congratulations, everybody. Give them a big round of applause. Yeah, there you go.
Here comes Mama. You want to get your family up there and get the council?
Yeah, get your family up here. Where you want them?
Right up here.
You got it. We're going to have a family photo. Then we're going to have the council members with the chief. And I want to thank Mrs. Chief as well. Her schedule is not her own either. All right, you got it? Council, can we get up there and thank y'all for coming.
Is he shy? Is he? No. Hey, buddy. We're going to come around.
He knows where he's safe.
He's looking at his aunt. Hey, buddy.
Are you shy?
He's cute.
I know. So cute.
Chief, I understand y'all got good eating up here.
Yes, sir.
You want to go there and give your report, do that, go.
I'll do my report and then we'll go ahead.
leave some for y'all.
You want me to do a report and y'all got?
No, I'll do it.
Thank you, Rick. That got everybody's attention. Yeah, we.
I'm going to do this. Y'all can go out.
All right. It's not often you get to recognize somebody for 30 years of service, much less a police. But it was on. Sorry. I must have bumped it. All right, Chief.
All right, thank you. Mayor, Council, thank you very much for tonight. I do appreciate it. As always, I'll start my report out with the number of accidents. This month we had 9, number of arrests 5, number of calls for service 2,631, reports this period 53, citations issued 240 with charges of 625. Citations for the city ordinance violation 1, warnings 182 with charges of 354. Warnings for COV, city ordinance violation were 10. Total count was 3,688. Assaults, we had 1. We had 0 BMVs this past month, 3 burglary of a business, 1 burglary of a residence. Criminal mischief 0, 1 fraud, 0 robbery. Total property checks 2,681 with 4 thefts. And on our TLC program, we had 61 pass, 26 failures with 87 contacts. City ordinance violations are listed below. I'll let you look through those on your own. There's nothing that stands out. I know that fireworks come up. We did not issue any citations for fireworks. And the calls we had, there was one internal to the city. And then we also had some that were on the peripheral as usual in Houston. There was a lot of celebratory gunfire in Houston, by the way. Moving on to comments and notes. We'll talk briefly about our burglaries of business. As you can see, they're up 3 from previous month. And we haven't been having those until just recent, but we did have 2 to note. One was Cabo Bob's, which we did have. They made entry into window there. They did more damage than anything, didn't really get anything out of there, but we're still working that case as well. Also, former Vroom, we have an open case for there for burglary and for Jiffy Lube. We are working with the Jiffy Lube Corporate Security on several things because they had several and they're using the same MO, modus operandi, so that we're looking at that and our investigative status is still open. On the residential, that was something we're looking into. That status is still open as well, and that's right below that, as you can see on page 2. Moving on to page 4, if you'll look at the flock safety alerts, we're up a little bit this month by 22. There were 67 alerts. There was 11 for stolen vehicle, 28 for sex offender, 3 for stolen plate, 14 for gang member or suspected terrorist, 0 for missing person, 1 warrant, 6 for protection orders, 4 on other agency hot lists. Out of those, you'll see below that, you'll see and highlighted is the flock hits, and 2 of those resulted in arrest for stolen vehicle out of another jurisdiction. They were confirmed to be stolen. One out of, we did also get a possession of a controlled substance. Moving on to the next page, 6, for the arrests, you can see the breakdown there. There was 2 for warrant of other jurisdiction, 1 for theft. The UUMVs are also listed there, and 1 was out again with the possession of a controlled substance. Moving to the last page for additional notes, I did highlight that there was the 3 calls that we did receive for fireworks that were something that we looked at, and the 1 that was inside the city and the rest outside the Houston area. Mesa, our security system that we're working on still with parks, the tennis court project has still been delayed due to supply chain and equipment. We're expecting something hopefully by the end of this week. Grant status, as you can see there, our radio recorder grant, was approved for $52,000. That recorder has been ordered. Our dispatch console grant is under review for $197,000. That was resubmitted. If you remember, that was over $200,000 that we had originally tried to ask for, but we had to reconfigure that. Our portable radio grant for 10 has been placed. No delivery date set for that. And we're currently still seeking a $250,000 grant for our in-car camera system. As you realize that our current vendor has now gone out of business. I did want to mention the house fire that we had, and I wanted to make sure somebody was here first. I wanted to mention one of our officers. I mean, all of them did a great job, but Officer Duran, who was out on patrol that day, did see the smoke initially and went to investigate and located the source. He located the smoke of the residence at 12,100 block of Brighton, called it in immediately and went to the door, notified the residents. There was a fire in the rear, and it was the garage, not in the living area. Officer Duran assisted the residents in gathering a few essential belongings and exiting the house to safety. Multiple agencies responded. Our MPPD officers, Duran, Officer Chan, and Officer Rodriguez set up a safety perimeter and assisted the fire departments of Stafford, Sugar Land, Missouri City, Northeast Community Fire, and later the Fort Bend County Fire Marshals who did arrive on scene not only to extinguish the fire but to investigate the origin and cause. So I would like to thank Officer Duran for, as we always do on patrol, you notice that we're out there doing things, but as my guys do above and beyond, I like to give them one of our challenge coins. And so I'm going to give him his tonight, his first one.
Congratulations.
I wanted to tell you that his modesty, he would not want to tell that he did what he did that day, but he did a great job, and we recognize that. So thank you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Chief. Yeah, I have a fire report later, which will not have anything on the fire, and I'll mention that because that'll come in next month's report. But I did, Chief, speak with Chief DiCamillo, and we've got a real good rapport with the fire department. You two have known each other for a long, long time.
Yes, sir.
And know how to work well with one another and talk to one another to get things done. And I know I recognize that, appreciate that,
yes, sir.
And say thank you for it. Congratulations on receiving your first challenge coin, Officer Duran. And I got a chance to see that being set up thanks to our code enforcement officer who was following y'all to see what was going on and sending me updates as she went, and then realized, oops, there's something happened. I better get out of here. But y'all did, and I didn't recognize it as a perimeter at first. I thought, where are they going? I don't understand what they're setting up like that. But it was apparent pretty quickly that y'all did know what you're doing. So we thank you. Chief, I appreciate everything. I know you want to get out there and get with your family, get some celebratory 30-year cake, and get out of here. So I'll shut up. Anybody got any questions for the chief? No? All right. Well,
Yes, thank you.
with that, again, congratulations on being City of Meadows Place, serving us, looking after us, and driving by my house and everybody else's house for 30 years.
Thank you, sir.
That's very good.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Follow that, Public Works Director Haney.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have my quarterly report here tonight. It's for the period of October, November, and December of 2023. As usual, we'll start with the sidewalk repair and replacement program. I have completed a review of the entire city and identified every location that has more than 2 inches of grade difference, which is considered the tripping hazard. I've identified 60 different locations. I haven't spent any of my money for sidewalk repair and replacement yet, so I feel very confident we'll be able to get that done and then some after that. That work should be started mid to late February. I haven't done any sidewalk work at all this year, concentrating on streets. Street repair program, again, we only have $185,000 in funding on an annual basis, and I've spent quite a bit of it so far. Only done 2 major locations, and I have not released anything else. The reason is EDC had funded the replacement of the Brighton parking lots around the McGrath Park. It was 4 areas, actually 5, 1, 2, 2A, 2B, 3, and 4. So we started the project, and that expenditure was about $145,000 in total, and we're about 2 phases into it so far. After he finishes with that, that's when I'll start my sidewalks. Recapping the streets, I have identified more areas than I have funding for this year, which will lead us into page number 3. I'm proposing some concrete street repair criteria. Let me back up a little bit. When I got here 3 years ago, there was a fairly extensive list that had been established by the mayor and my predecessor. And the list was well-defined and lengthy. There was good locations. It took me about 2.5 years to work through that. So last year, it was easy for me to pick out some of the main ones. But from now on, I need to have a system that is justifiable and defensible to decide which section gets replaced next. I've decided on 5 different criteria. Number 1 being the damage to the riding surface. Number 2 being if there's any utility underneath it causing the damage. Number 3, the ponding of water in the curb. Number 4, the volume of traffic on the street and the relative age of the street. I've designed this criteria so that the total score would be about 100. The damage based on percentage of the riding surface would score a maximum of 40. So if it was 50%, it would only get 20. If there's drainage pipes or another utility underneath that panel that's causing the damage, that panel would get an additional score of 10. If there's ponding water in the curb, we have a score of 0 to 25, depending how much of the panel is still covered after about 48 to 72 hours once the rain stops. Each panel will also be assigned a score based on the volume of traffic. Main thoroughfares, collector streets, and all other streets. A main thoroughfare being like Dorrance or Brighton, near the school, Montecito, etc. A collector being Holland, Meadow Valley, Amberwood, Meadow Trail, Blair Meadow, etc. That list can be modified, added to, or subtracted at our leisure. All of the streets were built at different times. And so I've identified 7 different sections: Meadow Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, Meadow Glen, Section 1, 2, and 3. And I broke down their score from a 10 down to a 3, so a maximum of 10. If each panel is reviewed based on this criteria, it will end up with a score. That will be a justifiable score that I can put in a priority list. Because right now I have more on my list than I have funding to complete this year. So I'm going to, if there's any questions, any comments on this criteria, any modifications you would like to see? Nothing, Rick?
No, I mean, it's a good policy, similar to what other cities do as
Yep.
far as scoring, and I don't see anything out of the ordinary here.
Yes. I want to do it just so that we have a path forward. It will give someone the idea or the ability to evaluate each panel and score them accordingly, because everybody's panel is number one, and I have to be able to make a decision as to which one's going to go first. If there's no questions on that, I'll start implementing that next week. USW expenses, October, November, December, relatively light compared to some of the months we had in the summer. October being 76,000, November 77, December 54. And I did update also the expense on the amount of money we spent on repairing water lines. That would be on page number 5. With the month of December being available and that number being able to be included in this, we spent about $436,000 on water line repairs last year. As I told you earlier, we've come up from about 112,000, and then like the last 4 years are on this page: 168, 162, 360, and last year it was 436. And that's just for your information only as we move forward in our CIP. Other repairs with USW and outside vendors. 2 of the generators are finished, obviously. I think I reported that last time. The EOC and water plant number 3. The wastewater treatment plant has been installed but not connected. It's a 500 kW diesel. We are waiting on the transfer switch being manufactured and delivered. And tentatively, the delivery date is 3/7/24. I won't hold my breath. I'm saying more like tax day the next month.
Ron,
Yes, sir?
who's manufacturing that transfer switch?
That I cannot answer. WPI is the one that's handling the entire installation. If it matters to you, I can find out.
Yeah, when you next time you talk to him, if you'd ask him.
Okay.
I know Terry Henley's interested in that as well.
It's part of the buy board program and the expense that we had, so it had to be state approved. So
Oh, no doubt.
It's just that industry right now. The water meter for the new library out in Fulshire has been back ordered for 12 months.
Yeah.
So we opened the library with some temporary meters because the master meter is still not in.
No, I was just curious. I used to hang around that industry a little bit, and I was just kind of curious. That's a pretty sophisticated piece of equipment. And so I was just curious on my part.
and on that meter note, I'm having a difficult time purchasing meters for our little city of Meadows Place. They're not available, but that's a different story.
That's amazing to me.
So the installation should be completed hopefully around April. We obviously haven't paid for it. We have the money in the bank. That was the original ARPA money that we used for that, I believe. On number 2, the clarifier repair project has been awarded 540 days in the contract. We should be finished by May the 20th, 2025.
Rod, let me interject real quick. I want to let council know, and I've let you all know in an email that we did get contacted by TCEQ about the effluent coming out of the back of the plant. You may know that back in July of this year, the level of ammonia coming out of the back of the plant exceeded permitted levels. It's not something that's unexpected, but we do expect that TCEQ is going to move forward with that. Obviously, in a situation like that, we've informed TCEQ with a letter that the project is already under design when the permit was, or when it was busted. And we began construction of the fix in September. So we feel really good about the proactive measures we've been taking, but be that as it may, TCEQ is looking at us by the book, and we did bust that permit, so we do expect that they're going to write us up, that we're going to get a letter formally. And I will let you know that there may be some kind of a penalty coming from the state associated with that. What I've been told by TCEQ is the good news is that nowadays those penalties can actually be towards the cost of the fix. And so should there be any penalty attached to this, what we're told from TCEQ is that penalty can roll into this project cost. So they don't have that in writing. I did have that in a phone call the other day. But I'm telling you that so that you're not surprised if we do get something from TCEQ saying that we're going to get fined.
And we are very lucky not to have more. That's how I feel about that. USW's done a fine job keeping us within permit for the majority of the time. The violations they had were what we consider minor. They busted averages, and that's not that bad. So blowers at the wastewater plant, I have nothing to, anything new on that. I still only have 2 operational. One's being worked on by NTS, but like the comments have been made, the parts are still probably out there somewhere in the ocean somewhere trying to get delivered to the US of A. The garage doors are serviced on a quarterly basis. There was no major repairs this time around. At the end of the year, I don't know, 5, we were on a 5-year plan. We are still on a 5-year plan to inspect our pressure vessels. We pulled each one down, 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, passed the inspection. It had a minor repair that they said we didn't have to fix. I asked them to fix it anyway. It was an epoxy repair on the inside, and so number 1 was up and running quite quickly. Plant number 3 required repairs inside and out at a cost of about $22,000, and I've approved that, and work should be proceeding with that. Plant number 2 also required repairs at a cost of $12,500. That work has also been authorized but not completed. Item number 6, lake pump update. I've been struggling with the lake pump, trying to get the replacement proposition, and finally, the Pumps, Motors, and Controls company came through with a quote for a new pump and filter, and that is an item that's on the agenda for later this evening. If it's approved and we order it, delivery and installation will be a minimum of 12 to 18 weeks thereafter. This is the submersible pump that we're using. We're going to put in place to replace the original pump assembly and filter system that was there since the lake has been there. And this should address our priming issue, which has always been an ongoing problem. Number 7, the wastewater treatment plant. Again, the jockey pump had failed again. We had repaired it, and they put it back in place, and something went wrong, and they pulled it out again. So I'm waiting for them to give us a report on that damage. I won't be paying for the second one. In fact, I haven't paid for the first one yet. That unit's not been repaired. Arrowhead Electric installed new LED lights on top of the wastewater treatment plant. We had some really aged units up there, and none of them, they weren't operating properly, and so I had them replace all the lights on top of the plant with LEDs. If we get into a situation during the construction time frame that they're working at night, at least the top of the plant will be appropriately lit. So I took that opportunity to get that done before the construction started. And I believe the irrigation system report for the first of the year was added to this report. And we're now in the situation where we're inspecting the irrigations at least 42 times a year. And once that inspection is completed, the report goes to our staff, and we authorize the repairs accordingly. They're supposed to be fixing them within the first week. Any questions?
First of all, Ron, thank you very much for sitting down with me and drawing out the submersible system. I was having a hard time visualizing it. Now I got it. And thank you very much. And I've heard about that pump not being primed and losing this and losing that, I think since the second day we put it in. So I'm glad to be
Hopefully
addressing it.
hopefully this solution works for us.
I'm hoping so too. I think it ought to. It's a lot simpler. And I will say this, that my hat is off to the staff of City of Meadows Place for engaging in repairs, emergency repairs, turning it on, figuring it out, going out there with a Coke bottle full of water to prime in the middle of the night. I mean, they've done a great job of keeping it up. I'd like to relieve everybody of that burden. I do have a question on the irrigation, which is probably my favorite system or thing to talk about. Is you have a note here that says water off due to mainline leak at Scottsdale. So now I'm assuming that they will get back to you and let you know that the leak's been repaired and that the system is back up and
Yes,
running.
they report on the leaks. Yes, sir.
Okay. I hate irrigation. All right, thank you very much. That was just a question.
Rod, I have one question, going back to the street. I like the idea that you put it forward on the repair criteria. Do you have, and I'm not asking for an amount, but do you have kind of a ballpark of how short you are compared to the needs that are out there? Are we talking a couple years?
At this early stage,
No?
no, I don't, but
Okay.
it's a lot.
Okay.
I know the ones that, I have a list of about a dozen so far, and I think I may be able to fund either 4 or 5.
Okay.
What do we got, 50 out of the general fund?
Criteria will definitely help.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'll let you know.
With the drought we had, the issue really compounded this year. Plus the water leaks and things like that, it always damages the concrete around it. I wouldn't be surprised if we're 4, 5, 6 years worth of needed repairs just on spot repairs. And then obviously we know we need to continue replacing our street system going forward.
I was just going to say thank you for you and your staff. I know you guys work with little resources, and I appreciate that you continuously keep it in front of our faces, because we need to know in what shape we are. We're not in a great shape, and you guys are doing a great job trying to get us there, but we need the money, which you remind us every council meeting, which we appreciate because it's very important. So we know that you need more resources, and we appreciate you.
I'm trying to identify anything and everything that needs to be attended to, and I'll cover that in more detail in the CAP in the springtime.
Thank you.
Rod, one thing I've asked in the past, and I can't remember the answer, so my apologies. Talking about water line replacement on streets, what was the dollar figure if we were to do an entire block?
Nick, can you remember, did we spend $500,000 on one block for a water line?
Yeah, you're talking about Dorrance?
Yes, for
Yeah, I think it
Dorrance.
was
And so
roughly $500,000.
the $500,000 on the Dorrance one block, if you want to do 4 blocks, I need $2 million. We might get a 5th block in there because of the economy of scale.
So we're looking at many tens of millions to replace the whole thing.
Yes, sir.
at once.
Everything we look at is not a cheap fix.
Okay.
But we can have a systematic approach to it because we know where our leaks have been over the last 10 years. And USW could identify the block numbers by the 100 probably, but it's on the northwest side of town. There's a couple of streets over there that they're frequent flyers.
Okay.
So,
is that something that we'll see on the CIP in the future?
Will they know?
Replacement of the worst ones, is that something?
Replacement of the worst ones will be handled by staff and HDR.
Okay.
We'll identify the areas, and then they'll be tasked with putting a project together, depending how much money and funding you have.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I think that's it. Council, anybody else? No. I want to say again, I'm tickled you finally worked through all of the list that you were handed when you came.
Yeah, it was a good list. I mean, it was thorough, and it lasted me 2 years with the money I had. I think yourself and the last director did a good job laying that out. And so I was seeking a way forward. And
But you have a measurable criteria.
Yes, sir. I have measurable criteria because I'm at a point where I will not be able to fund everything that I get asked to fix.
No, you're not.
And so if I've got this measurable criteria, we have an answer. Okay?
Thank you very much, Rod.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Good evening.
And now it's time for everybody's favorite report, the fire report. This last reporting period, which is the month previous to this, the fire department and EMS were busy. We had a total of 60 responses. 30 of them, or 50%, were medical assist and EMS calls. A lot of them were taken at Stafford Meadows and some over at the Alzheimer's unit, Senior Village. And then a lot of those were also within the residential areas, main part of the city. We had some two motor vehicle responses. We had 5 that were dispatched and canceled en route. People have seen something, reported something, they got going and found out they didn't. They're like our PD, who would rather go to something that wasn't a problem than not go to something that was. And I talked to Chief DeCamillo about that, and they have absolutely no problem in responding, and they're pleased to do it. So typically, that's what we get is quick responses. I know the fire response to the house fire here, and keep in mind our police had already set up a perimeter by the time they got there, and that response was about 4 minutes after they got the call. So that's not bad. I have to give my hat to them. So each report gives an incident type. These things are published to us and are available to closer inspection. If you have any specific questions, you can always come see me. I'd love to sit down and talk. Moving on, I'm going to pass it on to the city administrator's report. And it says right here, still Nick Havey, city administrator.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Just wanted to give a couple of quick examples tonight, and then we can move forward. In the last several weeks since we met last, 2 events that I wanted to give accolades to staff on. You know, the first was the freeze that we just had. As you can imagine, in a city, there's a lot of preparation that is required in advance of a hard freeze like that. And I want to give props to our staff who did a great job in cold weather, particularly our park staff and our public works staff, out in the field, out in the elements, wrapping pipes and you know, making sure that animals were taken care of, et cetera. Pleased to say that we have really no measurable damage at the city level from the freeze, and that would not have occurred had the employees not been able to go out there and do the hard work to make sure that the facilities were protected. The second thing, something that we really don't talk a lot about, but I just want to mention tonight because I don't think I ever have. You know, in front of you is an agenda packet. And the City Council agenda packet is something that doesn't just come together magically. Every City Council agenda, staff gets together, we build the agenda, we obviously go over it with the mayor, and we build the backup materials for the packet. And believe it or not, the backup that goes in these packets helps staff as much as it helps anybody, because it helps us make sure that we're prepared as a staff to present this item to council and make sure that you have what you need to make decisions. And this one was, I have to say, was a tough one, I think, for us. We met together as a staff. We had a lot of items. We wanted to make sure we had a lot of backup in there. It is in here. You know, we have these agenda item forms, these AI forms that are in there every time. Our department directors do a good job of making sure those are filled out, making sure that the attachments are in there, that they're thorough. And I just wanted to give credit to our department directors for that, because putting together these agendas is a task. And it's not something we talk a lot about, but it's a puzzle. And when you get together, especially with Courtney, our city secretary, making sure that we have everything together in order, on time, it's a task. And I just wanted to emphasize that if I never ever do again. So with that, that's my report tonight.
It's funny that you... said it's a political coincidence that you mentioned that, because I was sitting in the other office and as I'm looking through this agenda, and as I mentioned earlier, I had Rod, I was come by and draw out the submersible pump based off of what I was reading in the agenda. I was looking at some of the information on the dog park. I'm looking at information scattered throughout this agenda. And this is a pretty thick agenda. I'm sure we're paperless real soon. But Nick, I want to say that you and the staff do a great job in putting these together. Better than anything I've experienced prior to. And so moving forward, I know the city's going to be able to understand that. The council will be able to sit down and know what's the heck's happening, as you mentioned down there, saying, hey, this is going forward. So I just wanted to say thank you, Courtney, and all the staff for putting this much work into this. So thank you, Nick and Courtney, and then the rest of the staff for doing that. That's my comment on your comments. With that, we're going to move on to item D, which is mayor and council comments. We do have 2 council comments, so I'll be brief. Everybody, this is for the public that has chosen to be here, and I thank you very much. But it's also for the thousands of people out in our audience and those up in Meadow, Texas that are watching us. You'll see on your utility bill, David, that there's a line item called infrastructure reconstruction. And that's a $10 fee. And it's new. And this is something that we've been talking about, but we had to kind of make sure that we were falling in line legally. We had 3 of our city council people really adamant about adding the fee, but making sure that the fee was, what's the favorite word, transparent? Transparent to all, that it is a designated fee and it serves one purpose, just like our road use fee. We collect and use $185,000 worth of road use fee worked on interior roads, and that's what Rod works off of. Otherwise, we'd have the $50,000 off our general fund, but we wouldn't get much done in $50,000 worth. And we're going to get the same amount now in the utility fund, which is going to be used specifically for water and sewer issues. And as you heard in Kurt's questions, $185,000 doesn't go a long way. Nothing Rod touches is cheap. But it's a start. And moving forward, it can be a funding source if you decide to issue bonds or something like that. But this is something that we're having to do. Other cities do it, but a lot of them hide it in their garbage fees and then get fed back money by the garbage companies. So you think you're paying $35 for a garbage fee, and part of it's kicking back into the city utility fund. And I didn't like that. I like it being open. I want everybody here to know what the heck they're paying for. That way, if they can come and sit in this room and say, I don't want to pay that, or as we had that wonderful engineer that sat out there and said, $10 isn't enough, you ought to go to 25. And I went, yes, thank you. But we did. So I just want to say that you're going to see that. Some of you that have paid your utility bill have already seen that. It is very specific. David, I think you're satisfied that the definition of what we're going to use for is specific, and it's open, and it's quote, transparent to all. So when somebody says, what's this $10 fee that popped up, it's to help offset that $365,000 that we talked about in line breaks for this last year. So that's what that's for, and it's showing a sign of a progressive city that is working through the best it can, where some of these things are 60 years old with a life expectancy of 40. And so that's what we're doing, is just making sure that we're doing the best we can. And I want to applaud City Council for going along with that and going along with it in a way that's open to eyes of the public, and they can tell. And the staff can easily explain it when they get questions. And that's it. Item 2 is council comments. Rick?
No additional information. We're still waiting on Centerpoint. They cover the entire area, and there's a lot of new construction going on, so getting them to give us a response and the final approval before we can go to bid is kind of where we're sitting.
I'm going to be visiting with some Centerpoint people in March. And some of those people should be able to give me some answers.
If we don't have a response mid-February, we can talk about whether we can put in a call. That's always a little tentative, because if you become too much of a pest, you just get put on the bottom of the pile.
Yep, you get put on the list, the bottom of the list. All right, thank you, Rick. Appreciate you keeping up with it. He is our volunteer project manager, in case y'all didn't know. E, and we got a long one here, regular agenda item. Item 1 is discussion and consideration regarding ordinance 2024, holding a general election. Is that right? And somehow or another got this out of order. I was doing my homework. Calling a general election on Saturday, May 4th, 2024, for the purpose of electing city officials in City of Meadows Place for mayor, alderman 1, 2, and 3. Summary, it's just going to be held here. We will be a polling place. February 16th is the deadline for filing for a place on the ballot and for ordering the election. The recommendation by staff and by the mayor is to approve this ordinance, so I'd like to have a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kurt, second by Rick. Any further discussion? Motion carries unanimously. All in favor?
Aye.
I knew the answer. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Any nays? Hearing none, unanimously. Got a little ahead of myself. Item 2, discussion ordinance 2024-02, amending Chapter 94 of the Parks and Recreation by adding Section 94.22, which will put up the rules for the city green spaces and for the Code of Ordinance for City of Meadows Place. Council, I think we talked to Colleen last month. We saw what those rules were, and everybody was in agreement with them, as I understood. So with that, I'd like to have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Motion by Kelly,
Second.
second by David. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Well, hold. I thought we were going to put in a tiered penalty system. Like we did for garbage and everything else. So,
Wait a minute.
council's okay with $500 fine for water balloons? Because you know that's what the judge is going to post.
Rick, why wouldn't it fall under the current 50, under 250?
The 50, 100, 250 was a very specific penalty provision in a very specific portion of the ordinance. This Section 4 penalty provision is the boilerplate penalty for any Class C in town, I think.
I don't remember talking about that last
It
week.
was already in the ordinance, so by adding
yeah,
the
the
other
penal-
items, we're just piggybacking on what the ordinance already had.
Correct. So the section that talks about all of the, Section 1 basically, which is in the ordinance, is what would be inserted into Chapter 94. The penalty provision that's in there already exists in Chapter 94. Correct. So if we wanted to modify it to, like I said, there are already other rules in Chapter 94 that also fall under this penalty provision. So if we were to do a different tier, then we'd have to be specific as to which section the penalty provision applies to in that Chapter 94. Does that make sense? Because it covers a lot of stuff, not just these few rules that are going to insert.
And I wasn't here last month, so it was the month before that I brought that up.
Okay, well, I don't remember that far back, sorry. So can we make this, can
I
we
would
do this
agree.
on the fly?
Amend the ordinance. Make a motion to amend it how you want the penalties to be.
Are we saying all of them, or we're tiering which ones are more? Because, I mean, a bike on the trail is not the same to me as, you know,
So I'm saying
pop-up
the
tent.
ones that would fall under the $500 penalty.
yeah.
The $2,000 penalty are your more substantial
Right.
Yeah.
issues that are more life safety. I'm not really concerned with that. But, you know, like I said, if a kid shows up with a water balloon, I don't want to see us handing out a $500 fine.
Or a bike. I mean, in that regard too. I mean, I think if it's continuous, that's different. But, you know, somebody just riding their bike on there or something, which,
Well, once again, if we go with the tiered system, after your third penalty, it's $250 or $500 each time.
yeah.
Within a 12-month period. That's how we address the repeat offenders with the garbage cans and everything else.
And that's, I think, fair, but can we amend it right here? Can we tuck this away some way
We
to
can. It's just what I'm racking my brain over is,
how to word it?
well, like I said, that penalty provision, it covers the entirety of Chapter 94. So we'd have to make sure that
To me, this is not a critical, we have to pass this tonight. I would be fine with it getting tabled until next time if staff thinks they need time to figure out the penalty so we don't accidentally void something else.
I would prefer to do that. Colleen, your thoughts?
I mean, she can get the sign ordered, everything else. It's not an issue that we're not going to pass these things. It's just a matter of what that penalty is going to be.
I think opening that up, we'll have to also look at some of the other rules in 94 because the
Yeah,
other
because
rules in
that might
there,
tie to it.
well, the other rules in there are tied to this 500, 2,000. And I can't recall now what else is in 94.
Okay, and this is why we discussed these. So with that,
Why don't we bring it back at the next
I was
meeting?
going to say, let's table this till next month.
Yeah, and
And we can put a specific time on it and say next month.
but real quick, are we talking, we mirror what we did with the garbage cans and do like the 100?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, what is it, 50 or 75 for your first offense, second offense is 150,
50.
third offense 250.
And then after that, you're paying the full ride.
Okay.
I think that's a very fair way to do it. I like that, so with that,
Well, real quick, just to confirm, the PD is going to have discretion on this, right? So if they see a kid, if they see a party setting up,
They don't have to write the ticket.
so if they see a pinata going up, they can say, hey, please remove the pinata. There's not going to be a ticket.
Right.
it's not an automatic. No.
Yeah.
But the problem is they catch the teenager with the water balloon, the 14-year-old turn around and gives them attitude. That kid's getting a ticket.
Courtney, can you pull up 94 on Unicode? What I'm saying is, yeah, I mean, we could do it right now. It's just I can't remember what else this touches. And if council's okay with that tier system being applied to all the other stuff that already exists in the code, then we could do it right now. I just can't remember what else this touches in that chapter of the code, and I don't want to blanket. You know what I mean? Because this.
Well.
No, it's all parks. It's just I don't remember what already exists, and so right now what exists in the parks code is under this 50, 500, 2,000.
Right.
And if we're only wanting to do the tiered on just this new thing that we're plugging in, then we could write it and do that. Or we could do it for everything in 94, because the other rules apply to similar type violations that are parks related. I just can't.
It's parks, there's actually regulation of parks and public grounds already in here.
Right.
Park hours, community center and swimming pool. Swimming pool.
So, for example, I mean, technically, if somebody was caught in the park after hours, they could get a Class C with a $500 fine today.
Right.
And so if you guys are okay with that still, then, and you don't want to touch that, then that's fine, but we can clean that up now if you guys want to also do the tiered.
I'd be in favor of tearing it for everything.
For everything.
I think we had the issue with municipal court where it went, because it had the 500, we didn't consider the other. I think that's why we put the tier in. I'm okay with going the tier across the board for parks and
For all
recreation.
the parks.
So it would be,
Well, I'd prefer to have another month just to read. I want to read what's in it. I don't want to agree to something if I can't read it.
okay, then we've got
So then
we
we
can-
should
split
make-
council here, so let's put this thing to bed for a month.
Okay, let us look at it and see what all we're talking about, and then we can bring it back to you and show you.
Do we need a motion to table?
I
Yes,
think you can,
because we
well,
have a motion to
that or you
approve
can
it.
just pull your motion.
Yeah, you can pull your motion. Who? Kelly, you made the motion. You have to pull it or rescind it.
Kelly says charge them.
So done.
Okay. Motion's rescinded, and this item E2 is tabled until next month when we can rewrite and add that to it. Y'all have too big a heart. I love that. Okay, item E3, grant application for recorder dispatch console. Y'all heard just some discussion about that earlier. The resolution is to authorize Chief Stewart to submit a grant application for the purchase and reorder of a dispatch console, which has been a
Move to approve.
big deal.
Second.
Motion by Kurt, second by Tia. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And this is another grant application for Chief Stewart to submit. And this resolution authorizes them for the purchase of portable radios, which I think they're trying to right now. So that's grant number 452-2701 for the radios. Motion by Rick, second by David. Any further discussion? This is a mess right now, this radio thing, so I'm glad we're going after it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item E5, this is a change order number 4 with statewide services for Dorrance's Phase 1. This is where this AI, this artificial intelligence thing comes in real handy. Yeah. I read through this thing and I'm amazed. Basically, we have statewide services, a contractor for Dorrance Phase 1 finally sent their closeout documents and change order for final payment. Engineer has reviewed and approved right out there. She's nodding her head. And once the city approves the final change of order 4, the city will owe the contractor $45,372.04, which is a heck of a lot less than the $100,000 we had sitting there. So the tally will show that we'll still it'll final price will be $975,935.70, which again is less than the million something that we thought it might cost. Staff is recommending approval. I concur. So I need a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Tia.
Second.
Second by Kurt. Any discussion on this complicated, complex issue? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Item 5 passes unanimously. That was a heads you call it, tails, heads or tails on that one. I didn't know they'd ever pay. Okay. Item number 6. Knock, you need to pay attention. This is an agreement amendment with HDR Engineering for Dorrance Construction. Basically, it's to complete the contract with HDR Engineering for the construction phase of Dorrance 1 project. We notice the liquidated damages were assessed in here, and there's all the detailed backup work on this, and council is basically being asked to authorize the mayor's signature on the change order.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Rick. Second by Kurt. Any discussion?
I'd just like to thank HDR for helping us through the project and working with a contractor that wasn't always responsive. The fact that it took them over 6 months to get us their final pay request, I don't know why you would wait that long to get your last check, but thank you.
Yeah, I second that, Rick. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Item E6 for HDR passes unanimously. And I understand y'all are already working on TML and our stuff on the line too. Item E7, replace the submersible pump at the lake. This is something that was discussed. The upgrade is a planned project. The lake pump is original to construction. They're going it over. That thing has failed over and over. And even his new primer pump 6 months ago didn't keep it up and running. So basically what we're looking is for $39,150, which is over the $2,500 threshold, $25,000 threshold. So council's got to approve it before we can go ahead. So I'm recommending a motion to approve this item. And Rod, you better start waving at people, see if you can get somebody to second it for you. Thank you.
Second.
And who
We just want to make you sweat.
Tia.
Tia, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. We got a motion and a second. Rod's breathing easier. All in favor?
Real quick discussion. Just wanted to inform council. I asked, price-wise, I asked what we get or why we would want to do this, spend the money. One of the reasons is we get a credit from WCID number 2 for using this reclaimed water. In December, it was $5,000. So it's a significant credit. It's going to end up paying for this plus. So I just wanted to make sure we could justify it. So
Thanks for bringing that up. It's really
good numbers to know. I didn't know we got a credit that big.
Anything else? No. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And I know what it looks like because I got a drawing right here. Thank you. All right, budget amendment for that submersible pump. Now that we've all agreed to it and see the benefits of it, we need to amend the general fund budget to the tune of $39,150. So staff recommends approval, mayor recommends approval. Does the council see it that way? David offers up a motion to pass.
Second.
Second by Kurt. Any discussion? No, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion E8 carries unanimously. Okay. E9 and E10 are going to kind of intertwine. But E9 is dog park maintenance and funding. And Colleen, you might as well just get up. We have proposed with Vroom, somebody, I think everybody saw the announcement today, or some people did, they're gone. But the owners have been given a copy of a one-page lease, or a one-year lease for $1, with no renewals, etc. There's real property boundaries included, just the lease, the dog park, and the parking lot. None of the other stuff. And if we do this, and if we do anything there, we keep the property. $25,000 was suggested as a budget amendment to operate the dog park, and they were asked to do some further research and more detailed plan to run the dog park. A little note, and I think y'all have all read it. They're confident that $25,000 will cover the base operations for the rest of the year, mowing, the pooper scooper people that go in and clean up the dog park and spray it down and make it sanitary. There has been an assessment, and Colleen, has everybody seen the assessment from the Parks Department? Okay. My question is to council. Do we want a dog park, and if so, is this one we want?
Do we need a motion before we discuss? Okay.
No, let's discuss right now.
I'm a no. I was mostly a no at the last meeting, and now after reading the assessment of the property, I don't want to put another $25,000 plus another $25,000 for a new fence or repairs, or it's going to well exceed that.
Well, let me back up and ask you a question. Is the no on the existing dog park or dog park period?
100% no on the existing dog park based on the current condition, the money it would take to come to bring it up to snuff, and then it could be taken away from us months later. It doesn't make sense. As far as a dog park in general, I really want more feedback from the citizens on this. I received very little feedback. I don't know if people would use it, and we want to make sure people are going to use it. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to do. So I don't want to do a big investment if we can't justify it. It doesn't make sense.
And I'm with you, Kurt. I was definitely on the fence until seeing kind of the assessment. I am not against a dog park. I think I am against where it is just based on the current needs and our budget and all of our other infrastructure needs. And if we were to put this amount of money into something like that, I would like to own it, because that is the biggest heartburn for me, is putting all this money into something that can be taken away from us. But I think if we did have one, I think people would use it. I think that one, I tried to use it, and it was awful, and so we just stopped going. So I think that people would use it if we had one. I think it could be a great amenity. I think it is a lot of money. I mean, the maintenance on it, we just need to build that in. We have a lot of needs right now. And so we just really need to prioritize those. But I do think that we could get something. It's just a matter of when and how much and how that would work. But for me, being on someone else's property is, I just can't see investing that kind of money.
Yeah, I'll comment on this. I was for the dog park, I think in the last meeting, I heard from the residents that were here, and it was unanimous. They wanted us to have a dog park. But I also heard the comments that the dog park that we once had when it was Texas Direct was a great dog park, and that because it didn't get the maintenance, it didn't get the updates, didn't get any care, it really disintegrated, and now it's a place where people still use some, but they don't gather. It's not as much as it was. I think we should have a dog park in the city. I don't know. At this point, looking at the assessment, this probably isn't the dog park we want, simply because it's going to take money to fix it. It's going to make money to retain it. And if we took it in the condition it's in, we become liable. And I don't think we have the resources today to put a lot of money into a property that could very well disappear within months. And so for me, I think it's pretty clear right now that we maybe don't want to continue this project with this particular dog park. But I do think we need to, and I think Rick's recommendation at the last council meeting was that we do an overall parks and assessment. We look at how that might fit in and how that might be funded, budgeted. We've been able to budget a lot into the parks in the past 5 years. Colleen's done an outstanding job of finding funding sources outside the city revenue to build those things, and I think that's an opportunity for us going forward to take that and invest in Meadows and know that investment's going to be here 10, 15, 20 years down the road. So I'm not in favor any longer of keeping that park.
Colleen, do we have a roundabout number on what a dog park would cost if we were to build one from scratch on our own property?
I mean, they certainly vary. A big part of the expense is obviously going to be the security, the fencing, the gates. The great thing is if we invest in ourselves on our city property, we're already mowing and maintaining and irrigating those areas. So we don't have that infrastructure that we're having to put in there. So there would be a cost savings on the monthly maintenance. But to invest in a fence, the Meadow Valley Park that we just recently fenced, that's only 250 yards of fencing, or 250 feet of fencing, and that was at an average of $4,000 for an aluminum fence. So
without gates.
Without gates, correct.
So figure another $2,500 for gates, probably.
I don't want to misquote.
Gotcha. Well,
Obviously,
I'll guess because I looked into it, just a nickel's worth.
Sure.
And I think I'm comfortable in saying it'd be about $2,500 to add to your $4,000 to $6,000. So that'd be the basic.
That'd just be a fence, nothing else.
And a divider fence.
the fencing, the division between the large and the small dogs, the common area where they come in with the gates. A dog park, you can take it to any extreme. You can have a full agility course. You can have a landscaped, which is what the property originally was across the street, which I don't recommend. That's eating away your money every season with the landscaping. Or you can just have a simple dog run area with benches for the pet owners and some type of a shade structure for them to sit while they're waiting to allow their dog to run. So it's really based on how much you want to put into it. It's a lot more affordable to do it this way with us utilizing our own property. And again, already we have the irrigation built in. The mowing is already being done currently on all of our city properties, so it's not like we're adding that additional fee. But we would need the monthly sanitation, which is $450 per month for a company to come in and do the sanitation portion of that. So it's very, it could be very affordable and reasonable. But I do agree with council on this. I think that we do need to conduct an interest survey from our citizens. I think that would be a good support for whatever decision we end up making in the end based off of citizen input. I also think we need to look at alternate funding and research locations within the city that we can place this.
I just turned it out because I was talking secret stuff to Nick, saying I think we need to just go ahead with the dog park in our city.
Do that with you. Not with us.
Anyway, so I think Colleen, I'll say I want to thank you for coming up here prepared to have this discussion and to have some idea of pricing because it's important.
Yeah.
So Charlie, we've talked about the need for updating the Parks Master Plan, and we've talked about updating the city vision that we had done before. It'd be better to start that now so we have the information going into budget season. Question I have for staff is, have you guys run committees like this before and feel up to it, or do we need to bring in an outside facilitator?
Have we ever brought in an outside facilitator?
Yes.
We did last time for the big visioning that we did
That was the
15
facilities.
years ago.
I've never seen something of that scale being done in-house. Usually a third party coming in brings a certain degree of neutrality, et cetera. That's all I can add to that conversation.
So rather than make it a dog park discussion, it would be part of a citywide long-range improvement project.
Well, I think we restrict it to overall vision for the city, what's important to you, and then specifically on the park system. I don't know that we need to go into which streets need to be improved first, because we don't, I mean, we're still locked into doing Dorrance over the next 5-10 years, whatever that is. Till Dorrance is done, we don't need to have that discussion about the other streets. And so, to me, it's, you know, people are like our police department. Would you like to see any changes? What changes would you like to see with the parks? Things of that nature. Once again, I've been through enough of these things that I don't know that we need an outside facilitator. The question is, do we want one, just as Nick said, bring in that neutrality and not look like council's trying to push the conversation in a direction.
One way or the other.
You know, remember one of the last visioning sessions is where we came up with the logo, came up with the slogans, and then where did we want to see ourselves in 5, 10, 15 years as far as development and redevelopment?
Well, I was back on a Parks Commission from 1996 that did specifically the parks. And I will say it took us 15 years, but we worked our way through that book, which I tried to find the other day, and I can't. So, Rick, I've not done one without a third party on an overall plan, but since we're not going to be including infrastructure like roads, we've already got our wastewater treatment plant being done. That won't be a part of that. I think I'd like to have a discussion on, can we do it in-house? I think we can. I'd be willing to try it, and if we find out, well, we can't, we can always bail it out and call a third party. But I think we've got a communication director that's, he's fair to meddling. He can communicate to the public. We've got all the tools. We're getting, I would like to say, first of all, getting back to this, scrap this dog park maintenance project right now, and then move ahead with what we can do.
So, to me, what the next step is, we need a committee of citizens, and we need to pick dates. So, if you could work with staff and get the information out, hey, we're doing this, submit your resume or submit your interest. Give them a deadline of when they need to submit to be on our committee. Anybody can show up to the actual meetings, but we want people that are invested in the city and want to bring ideas to us as to where we want to be with our park system specifically, and the city in general over the next horizon years, 5, 10, 25 years type thing.
I can certainly do that and get it started, because at that point, it's thrown open to an open committee. And that's, and I've sat in on those, and I'm amazed at the brain power that's located within this city. So I feel very comfortable we can do that. So that brings us back to E9. And we are having a discussion. And we have somebody that would like to come up and speak to us regarding the dog park in specific. And that person's Mike Besner from 11842 Mulholland. Mike, you get 3 minutes. Hold
Thank
on
you.
a second.
At the last meeting that we had, the city council voted to draw up a one-year contract with the owner and submit that to the owner. So my question is, was that signed by the owner? If not, what was the thing that he objected to?
It was sent to the owner. They, as far as I've heard from the mayor, they didn't give us an objection. We were told we would have it by today. We just don't have it in hand.
So that was a lease for 1 year, correct?
Correct.
So we submitted that to the owner, and now are we going to say, well, we're going to renege on that contract?
We have not signed it. We had asked them to sign it.
We have offered them a contract.
So you've offered them a contract, and if they sign it,
Well, they did not meet our deadline, which was today, so that we could take action on it if needed.
oh, okay.
Now, they may still show up tomorrow and sign it, but they didn't meet the deadline we had given them.
So what you're saying now is that you will revoke the contract if
There's nothing to revoke. We never entered into it. We never signed it.
okay.
We gave permission at the last meeting for the mayor to sign it at such time that the owner had agreed to it in writing.
But it still needed council approval.
Okay. So right now,
Let me ask you real quick, Mike, because you're about to run out of time. Do you want a dog park?
sure,
There you go.
my dogs want it.
He would like us to still move forward on this one, but I don't think council's comfortable spending 50 to 100,000.
Well, this is an asset that's already there. It's been used for a while. It's been used for over 10, 15 years.
And Mike, I'll just tell you, after Colleen and her staff went out there and sent in a report, it made me waver, and then I went out and looked at what's out there. And there's some safety issues which we would have to address, which we'd probably throw another $20,000, $25,000 at right off the bat.
I don't see what it's up then.
So anyway, regardless, at this point, council is, correct me if I'm wrong, council, but council is not willing to put any money into, nor do they want to go ahead with the existing dog park.
Okay, then I'm going to ask the council, what are you going to do with the health violations that are going on out there now? Because the cans are full. They need to be emptied. It's a health hazard. And there's that water thing in the back, the water hole, where the water stands and is not drained. We had problems with that, with the water in that park to begin with. And it took 3 years to come in and dump dirt on it.
Your time's up, but I will tell you this, because I agree, and there it's a concern. And the one thing we do have is we have a code enforcement officer, which covers who has the ability to cover all those items, and they'll be addressing that with the owner post haste. All right. So where were we? Still in discussion? No further action or discussion on item 9, which takes us to 10, which is the dog park lease, which was, Yep, so we're going to take and just, with no action on item 10. Okay, this is another park item for somebody that didn't have much to do tonight. You got a lot to do, huh? Item 11, Meadows Place Pony Baseball Batting Cage Proposal. This is something that's been ponied around with for a long time. It's a batting cage within one of the city's parks. Baseball has some folks here tonight to discuss it, I believe. City staff is available also, meaning Colleen, for reference and talk. Nick informed me the other day that we did receive back a letter of no objection from Fort Bend ISD. So with that, I'm going to invite baseball up to just tell us what they're proposing. I think everybody has all the backup data in their artificial intelligence packet.
All right. So y'all did get this packet that you have.
We got it.
Okay, that's good. I didn't know. Yeah, our proposal is for Meadows Place Pony Baseball to pay to construct and maintain a single-lane batting cage at Mark McGrath Park. If you see in the picture up there, we're proposing. I know the park is there's a lot of stuff in the park, and so I looked all over trying to figure out the best place to put it, and the one I came up with was hugging the right field fence on the big field. The standard size of a batting cage is 70 feet by 12 feet, so it would be a concrete pad of about 70 feet by 12 feet, 14 feet.
14
about,
feet, yeah.
Yeah, so, to be determined, but basically enough to house a standard batting cage. The one we're looking at is designed, or it has the ability to basically be removed during the off season, because that was kind of one of the big sticking points, or one big discussion points is we initially wanted to put a fence around it, and we were told that that's just a non-starter, just due to liability concerns and stuff like that. So, so the plan right now is to, during the off season, we will remove the netting, the model that we're looking at. Has the ability to put a ground sleeve in the ground. You basically set the ground sleeve in concrete, and then the pole goes into the ground sleeve. So those can be pulled up and removed. The netting, from the data I've seen, the netting fits in one of those just a big trash cans, so it actually stores pretty nicely. I put in the package just a few pictures of some local examples, one in Bel Air, one in West University. You can kind of see what we're going for is just kind of get it to hug the right field fence, and then the rest of the packet is the model that we're looking at. The one I like this model because it has 3 poles on either end, and then it has a winch to kind of store it. You're able to pull it up and let it down without having to get into ladders and stuff, so that's nice. And then, of course, the option for ground sleeves. If the picture there, I even emailed them and asked them about the optimum size of the concrete pad and whether it should be encase the pole or not, and they basically said figure it out. So
we're looking at something approximately 70 by 14.
Yes. The actual net is 70 by 12, and I think I didn't print off but basically I think the poles get offset from that about 2 or 3 feet. So something to that effect, right, is what we're looking at. Some other options that we'll look at, just depending on, what we're looking for right now is just approval of the concept, and then we'll figure out how to pay for it. We'll be looking for grants, other donations, and also just using available reserves we have, cash on hand. But kind of we wanted to get the go-ahead from Fort Bend ISD and City of Meadows Place that they agree that this is a good thing that we can pursue, and then we'll
Did
we'll
you
start.
give us your name and address in the speaker?
I'm James Fields. I live at 11706 Kangaroo Court.
So that was a no, and now you have. Okay,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
It's being recorded. I just wanted to make sure. James, I'd like to jump in here. I would have fought you tooth and nail to get a big permanent structure there. As much as I love our baseball league, I didn't believe it belongs there. What I see here is not only a semi-attractive piece of equipment, it's flexible, it'll be used. I love the crank too. I think that's going to be handy. And I think it'll enhance the quality of the baseball league and the experience the kids have. I mean,
Yes.
it's just by sticking them in that cage and saying, now you're in a batting cage, man.
And one thing I wanted to point out, we have been growing as a league, and we are really tight on field space for practices and stuff. And what this effectively does is open up another, it effectively is another field that we can have practices on.
Absolutely.
Have a team, you have 1 hour a week on the batting cage and then an hour and a half in the field on different days. And
So let
anyway.
me ask this, since you brought it up, and I'm seeing here, it looks like we're going to dodge the Gaga pit and miss it, so we don't have to tear it down.
Yeah.
Which I see kids out there playing by themselves quite often, and
Yes.
I think that's wonderful. But I do have a question. How soon after the season ends would the cage come down?
Ideally, as soon as we are done with baseball activities, primarily because, when we're done with baseball, most of us are kind of ready to take a break, and we don't really go out and visit it. The biggest concern we have is we're putting forth a lot of money, and we don't want it to be damaged just because, we all know the stuff that happens at the parks, even though we try our best to keep it from happening. So probably in the fall, once we have our last game, we'll put it up and store it. In the summertime, once our all-star teams are done, that'll be the last thing we do is put up the batting cage and store it. Another reason why that's good is because it protects it from the elements, because we all know the Houston Sun will always win.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Anyway.
Council, any questions?
Did Fort Bend ISD give approval yet?
Yes.
Not exactly.
Okay, one more question. Where are you going to store it? Because I know the Meadows, the baseball part, and that field house, the area we have, baseball, is very tight back there.
Yeah. The netting is going to be, like I said, it can be stored in a large trash can, so that's, I don't think that's going to be an issue. And then it's basically 6 poles that are, I think, like 16 feet long. So we'll have to find a place to do it. I anticipate we'll move some stuff around and find a place to store it.
Okay.
So
You can always hang it from the rafters.
right. We have a lot of stuff hanging from the rafters, though.
I have a question. Is it going to be open to the public? Is anyone else going to be able to use it? What are the hours? How does that
It will have to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the items that James had mentioned about the fencing, we had no issue with a fencing structure around it. It was locking, a lockable gate. That became the issue, and we consulted with the legal counsel, and they informed us that no, it has to be public space, open to the public. So that actually made it better for these guys, a lesser expensive cost to be able to put this in, because now they're not doing the fencing around it. So as long as the structure is there, the netting and all that, yes, the public will have access to it. Obviously, there will also be a lot of eyes on it, trying to mitigate and keep it from getting damaged. And then, like James said, at the end of the season, baseball will be responsible to take it down and store it. And then one thing I wanted to mention is that this is just part of the process tonight. They want to donate this to the city, so that was the big item. That's why we're here. They've already met with us. We've already spoken with Fort Bend ISD. Tonight we're getting y'all's permission for the donation to the city. Obviously, we all know that at some point in time, the O&M is going to be on the city. Baseball presidents come and go, leagues come and go. So we have to be really critical and look at it like, what is this really going to cost the city long term, and how are we going to manage it in our parks? So those are the conversations that we had prior to tonight. Once these guys have gotten their funding source and been able to begin the process, we have other steps that they'll follow. They have to get the slab, we have to look at that, and it has to be permitted. We'll waive the fee, but we want to make sure it's constructed correctly and for long-term stability. We'll also have a term of agreement with them as far as what their responsibility is for keeping it up, keeping it safe, and those types of things. So this isn't the end of the process. It's just actually the middle, right?
Yeah.
So even though it's open to the public, I'm assuming that the reservations will be reserved for baseball during their practice times and things like that, similar to the fields, right?
Yes, and you know, we've never had a problem with encouraging people to head out when practices start. I tell the coaches, just act like you're supposed to be there, and people will leave. So kind of the same deal for that.
Colleen, do we have a camera that is already looking at that space? One of our city cameras?
Chief, is he here?
No.
I know that we had a camera on the field during the construction of the Meadows Elementary. I'm not sure if that one's angled that direction or if it can see that whole distance, but it's something we can look into. If we don't, I don't know that we will be placing one there, if that was your next question. Obviously, that would be associated with a cost. If y'all feel like it's necessary, we could look at that. But first, let us see if that camera that's existing out there, what the scope of it is.
Okay, yeah, just thinking security-wise.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess the question about softball, I mean, anyone is able to use it, but we're not planning on having a softball league, if that's the question. Yeah, no, we welcome girls, and we have probably 20 to 25% are girls, especially in the younger divisions, but we'll stick to baseball.
I think Terry was looking for an old timers league.
All right. Anything else, James?
No, I think that's it.
Council, any questions? And I'm not sure what action to take right now, except, and the question would be, do we want to accept the donation?
Well, I don't know that there's a donation to accept yet, but I think that more than anything, you're looking for feedback from council on whether they'd be receptive to accept it.
Yes, and you know,
at this point, I'm saying that council is willing
Courtney,
to
do you
accept
need a
the
motion?
donation.
Do you need a motion?
That's what we were just discussing.
I mean, I do think it would be better to do it in the form of a motion.
I will move to approve batting cages at the proposed location, subject to Meadows Place baseball being able to raise the funds.
I will second the motion.
You second?
It's been a long time coming.
I thought you'd object, Kelly. Okay. Any further discussion from council? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Passes unanimously. You can go ahead and smile now, James. Item number 12, discussion and consideration regarding memorial tree or bench dedication program in City of Meadows Place. This is just another example of the city growing up and doing things professionally. There have been, in the past, people have wanted to do things in memory of a loved one or whatever, and we've never had a process. And this Parks Director has come up with a great process and program. So is there any, need a motion to move ahead with recommending the tree and bench dedication program?
I'll move.
Motion by David, second by anybody? Okay, second by Kelly. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Okay, sorry. Well, I was going to say, this is just to discuss putting a program together. We're not actually voting on the program yet. That's the next item, right?
No.
Or the terms?
No, the next item is just approving the
fees.
fee schedule.
Okay.
So it'd be the fees that goes with the program.
Okay, so I don't know where to say this, but so going through it, I think it's a great idea. I think it's amazing. I love it. It's such a great idea, especially for the really long-term families that have lived here. Love it. The only thing that I did in questioning is after the 4-year renewal, the $150. To me, I feel like if I purchased something, dedication like that, my grandmother passed away, and then I move out of state, I might not be around or know, or maybe I pass and then the next person doesn't know to pay this $150 every 4 years. Or I may go out and buy my own, and then when I die, and my family doesn't know, or something. There's always that. So I think that's the one that gives me the maybe a little bit of heartburn of doing it every 4 years. What is the thought process behind that?
So it's actually 8 years.
Okay.
And then the 4 years it gave them an additional 4 years after the 8 completed.
So you got it when you buy it, you get it for 4 years.
You get it for 8 years.
Okay, so the first pay, 8
Correct.
years.
8 years. The city maintains the bench, maintains the placard. And then after the 8 years, you have the option to continue it again, meaning because after a while that placard deteriorates, you can't read it. It needs to be replaced at about that 8-year mark. So to purchase a new placard, that's the time that you can choose to do that. And then it'll gain you another 4 years on that.
So my other question is, we're talking about trees and we're talking about benches, and you guys have identified locations. What happens if we exceed? I don't think we will, but what happens if we exceed that? Or like in the bench situation, if they do not renew, do you just take the placard off and then somebody else could?
Correct. Then you begin to change the program and the pricing structure. We'd come back with a new fee ordinance to then place placards on existing benches. Okay. These are very fluid programs. They have to be, because you're right, you do run out of space. And once that happens, the program ends or it merges into something else. But we don't have that many requests. We do on an occasion, I think since I've been here, maybe 3 times in 8 years. But we need a program in place to provide us a guideline of how to handle it and what the pricing structure would be. So that's where we came up with this. And these are modeled after other cities' programs that are already in existence. Yeah. So we know that they already work. The pricing structure is in line with what the market will bear as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Colleen, just to clarify, for the tree, there's not going to be a sign at the physical tree.
That is correct. We have found, and again, as other cities have found as well, it becomes an issue putting that on the ground. You've seen, like we do have a couple of those around the city right now. They end up sinking into the ground. It becomes difficult to mow and landscape around it. They get lost. If it's on the tree, it actually can cause damage to the tree because you're creating a hole in it. The tree continues to grow. So instead, what we do is we'll place a page on our website that it will honor that individual. It'll have their picture, and then it'll have a reason what the dedication was for, and that will stay there for the longevity of the program and the donation. And Tia, I didn't answer your question. I'm sorry. You said, what if you move away and it's time to renew it? Well, we would contact the family or the contact number that we have to let them know that it's up for renewal and give them the option.
Thank you.
Discussion, I think everybody's questions were answered. All in favor?
Aye.
Colleen is the person who sat in that seat and had to make that decision and heard those discussions. It's a lot easier to do when you have something to offer them. It's this or that, and this is the way we do it. So I really think this is fantastic and is really a sign of the city growing up and getting better and better and raising our standards. So thank you.
Thank you.
You and Rod are on a roll tonight. Item number 13, discussion and consideration of ordinance 2024 amending the schedule of fees for the community center half-day rentals and the memorial dedication program. Staff's recommending adding a half-day rate to long-term rentals. We have had that in the past, but again, it's been nothing in writing.
Correct.
And what we're doing is basically putting it in writing. Staff also recommends adding fees for a tree and bench dedication program, which we just discussed. My question is, Nick, are there any other fees or that need to be addressed that we know of or at this time?
Not at this time, but fee schedule is one of those
fluid to deal with.
We see it more frequently than a lot of other ordinances.
Okay. Well, with that,
there's a new state law that requires cities to, I guess, renew. I think
Building fees every 10 years.
As a 10 years? Okay.
And I actually want to contact legal because I don't know if you heard this. I went to training last week and they stated that it has to be a public hearing for those building fees. And that's the first I heard that had to be a public hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, remembering to do it every 10 years to me is hard on staff. What we might start doing as part of the budget cycle every year.
That's what they recommended.
Approve all of our fees
Yes.
every year. That way there's no question that we've followed the state law. And it makes us look at it and does everything look reasonable still?
And that way it's done with a public hearing as well. Because if you don't adopt those fees, they are automatically null and void.
man. All right, I'm doing some good mayoring up here tonight. All right, so we do have two right now to deal with. And I recommend that we approve the half-day long-term rental rate and the fees for the dedication of the tree and bench. So I have a motion to approve. Motion by Rick.
Second.
Second by
Tia.
Tia. Second by Tia. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries unanimously. Wow.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
All right. Wait just
Second.
a moment. We have an input from our city administrator on the consent agenda. Everybody's hungry, Rick.
Just real quick, I know I've spoken with a lot of you individually about this, but that investment report is always, I think, something I want to emphasize every time we put it in front of you. And because we have that new minimum fund balance resolution that we've done, the last two pages of that report, page 8 and page 9, show your general funds analysis and your water and sewer analysis. You see the green number on the general fund page. That's the amount of money you have over and above your recommended reserves, your 7 months. And then on page 9, that red number is the utility fund amount that you have under your 10-month recommended reserve. I'd like to emphasize that every time we bring that in front of you.
Anything else? Because if we discuss any further, we're going to have to pull it from the consent agenda. Okay. Motion to approve the consent agenda. All in favor? Who was the second? Kelly, did you second or Tia did? Okay. Tia got it. We had all in favor was aye, unanimous. Anybody No, that one carries unanimous. It's on the consent agenda. This is our favorite time for Emily to come up for matters not on the agenda. Okay. With that, we'll move on to item H. Motion to adjourn. Oh. We do have somebody coming up to speak, and you'll need to give us your name.
My name is Chris Golick. I live at 11419 Scottsdale. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. I would like to bring to attention some ongoing issues that we've had at Meadows Place Senior Village. As you know, for the last 3 or 4 years, we've had a group of concerned citizens that have gone up there and kind of been the ombudsman for some of these people. Recently, again, they've had another event canceled. This time, during our cold spell, they had it canceled because the temperatures were too cold inside the building. There is a legal requirement to maintain heating and cooling inside buildings. There's 182 units there. I would imagine there's probably upward of 200 people living there. These people couldn't leave their units to go in the hallway without putting on a jacket. I mean, some of the temperatures, like the first floor, I believe, was 66 degrees, but I think the second floor was in the 40s, 50s. I think this is criminal at best. But at any rate, they wrote a letter to the citizens that live there, and one of the things that I find kind of ironic, and this was a very intimidating letter if I was an elderly person living, on a fixed income in a place like that. But one of the things that they stated is to leave the heat on 24 hours a day at a setting no less than 65 degrees, which they violated. And then later on down in the letter, it says you could be held liable for damage if pipes freeze in your unit and damage other units around you. So this letter, to me, seems like we're kind of allowing these people to abuse our elderly in our community. I'm asking to see if there's any way that we can get city council involved in that, if we can get code enforcement involved in that. Can we get our police department involved in that? Can we have code enforcement go over there and do an occupancy check every time a new resident moves in, or once a month or something along those lines? We have to do it whenever renters move into our houses here. Why is it any different there? These people are not willing to go out and fight for themselves. We have to fight for them. This is the 4th year that we've gone out there and done something for them that they're expecting the facility that they live in and pay for to do, but they're not doing it. They advertise heating, cooling, they advertise disposals in there, and yet they try to lean on the residents to replace the disposals themselves when they break. They advertise washers and dryers whenever they break. It takes months, if not years, to get these things fixed. They advertise controlled access. Well, I challenge you to go over there. The last couple of weeks, the front gates are just wide open because they can't get them fixed or whatever, so they just open them up and they don't care. At a secure facility, they advertise wheelchair accessible. I challenge you to go over there with a wheelchair and get in and out of that door. First of all, free egress means that whenever you walk up to the door is free to open. Right now, there's a push button that is not on a timer, so you have to hold the button while opening the door. That's impossible to do if you're in a wheelchair. If something happens here, people are going to die if there's a fire. Those are supposed to have a motion detector on them and a REX, which is a request to exit, and those are supposed to be on a timer, so whenever you activate that, it gives you 15, 30 seconds or whatever to get to the door in your wheelchair. There's threshold issues out there that prevent people from getting in and out.
You just hit 3 minutes. Let me ask you this. Have you got all this stuff written down?
I've got quite a bit of it written down, yes, sir.
Okay, what I'd like for you to do is let me visit with Nick, let me visit with the chief, let me visit with either Chief DiCamillo or the fire marshal. Maybe we can all sit down and have a discussion. I'm pretty upset about this. I've worked and gone over there and talked to those folks in the past. I've had code enforcement go over there, but they're limited. And so this is a bigger issue, and it's a bigger issue we want to cover in 3 minutes, and it's a bigger issue than I want to pretend to play with tonight. It's private property. It is a business. However, we do have some authority regarding those. What that is, I don't know. We'll talk to the lawyer. Maybe the lawyer needs to be at the meeting. I don't know that yet, okay?
Yes, sir.
So if you can give us a few days to kind of gather together, and because we don't want to go into this half
yes, sir.
talked, and
And Charlie, remember this is a federal credit type facility, so there are some state and national requirements they need to meet.
We may have a bigger hammer than what we think we have, is what you're saying. So, so
we'll have a meeting.
all right, Terry, thank you very much for volunteering.
Yes. Terry Henley, 12203 Austin Drive. Charlie, you and I met a number of times with Dr. Arun Verma. He's the owner of it.
Yeah.
And get all of our ducks in a row, the legal aspects, what we can and can't do, and let's have another meeting with him. This has to be straightened out. That's unacceptable. And what Chris is saying is right. The residents don't want to say anything. They're afraid of getting kicked out.
Yep.
So I understand that.
I can too.
I'll be more than willing to help out because I have a pretty good rapport with Dr. Verma, so I think we need to have a meeting with him after we get our ducks in order.
I know a couple pretty nice slumlords, so that's hard to tell. Terry, thank you. Chris, thank you very much. Rick, we'll try to use all aspects of that because it's they're part of our city too. We need to look after them as well. All right. Anybody else want to get
Yes. Kelly Mills, 12123 Scottsdale. I was one of the ones that called PD and notified them that there is a minimum and maximum temperature in common areas. PD sent an officer over for a welfare check. Amazingly, the common area warmed up significantly by the end of the day, but we now have them doing potluck lunches once a month, which is good. They get out of their apartment. They had to cancel this month because it was too cold. Inside, where we have our, like, the Christmas luncheon and all, and the common area, several residents have donated, like, coffee and all that we keep stocked there so they can come down and have coffee in the morning with the residents, so on and so forth. And like Chris said, that door is almost impossible to get out because you have to push a button and hold it. You can't just push the button like here and then, it opens, you can go. It doesn't even open on its own, and I've seen wheelchair people almost fall trying to get out in their wheelchair. And they did just now put whatever it is at the bottom of the door so the cold air would stop coming in. A lot of the residents contact me because of they know I'm not afraid of them. What are they going to do, rat my house at night? And I will go up against them, and contact Mary, who's at the office, and just tell her this needs to be fixed. But we have to do something for them because they are afraid to speak out.
I can understand that. I mean, a lot of them don't have the income to say, I'll just go get another place to live. So, Kelly, thank you very much. I know you do a lot over there. Council, I think we are all in agreement that something needs to be done. The city's going to, look into it. I don't know what resources, if any, we'll have to tap, but I want to look at everything we can. If anybody comes up with any ideas, call Nick. He's going to be in the meeting. That's why. All right. With that, any other audience comments? No? Okay, then moving on to adjourn. And unless anybody has an objection, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thank you very much, audience. Thank you, Knock. Tell everybody at HQR we said hi.